And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thomson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
No, ladies and gentlemen, he is not asleep. He is actually getting ready to go to Ireland because that is Bellator coming up soon, and he's going to sit there and wear those glasses given to him by the Energizer boys. My man, what's happening? We got some fights to talk about. It was Noche UFC, and there was a lot of Noches winning. The night was crazy. Had all kinds of stuff happening. What'd you think?
I thought it was.
Don't say it.
Why'd you ask me what I thought then? If you didn't want me to answer it, it was.
Come on.
There was a couple good fights. There was a couple not so. They weren't great, and then there was just some. I think more just a lot of conversation and in negative talk. I think from whether commentary, whether from just overall, just. I don't know.
Hold on. Are you saying that Dominic Cruz cannot?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, it was good though. There was some good fights. You know, like the back and forths, the close fights, those type of things. They can get a little frustrating to watch because you want to see a little bit more action, but there's a lot of strategy involved. They're not pulling the trigger. They are pulling the trigger. One person's got to go for it, otherwise. They're going to probably lose a close decision. They're both thinking in their mind. One's okay with not going for it and just kind of seeing what happens. The other person wants to get after it. It's just, there's a lot of back and forth. I mean, you want something more to happen, but you know how much is on the line. When the title's on the line, but man, there was some, I'll express my frustration with some of them, but then I'll also get a lot of love for some other ones. But, before we get started though, go to WeighInMerch.com, WeighInMerch.com, pick up some of our apparel there. Go to OnlyFans.com/weighing-in. Subscribe to us over there. It is free. We are offering all our extra content on OnlyFans.com/weighing-in. It is free. So subscribe to us over there. John, let's go ahead and start breaking down this fight, man. Let's talk right about it. The very first one, Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. Like, what were your thoughts going into that fifth round? Was it a tie? Was it tied 2-2 in your mind?
I had it tied 2-2. Okay. I did. I thought, going in, I thought the fourth round was close, but I thought that if you were looking at it, Grasso did just a little bit better, had a little bit harder shots, but it was a close fight. You go back and Valentina won the first round. Grasso won the second round. Valentina wins the third round. And it was a back and forth battle with, who was landing the better shots. Even when Grasso put Valentina down in the second round, I think it was, she was off balance too. It was a good shot. It was a good right hand, but she was already going backwards, and so it just put her back. That's why she did the roll. She gets up, and she did a good job of defending herself throughout it, but you got to give it to Grasso. It's the difference being in this, and I don't know when you're watching it if you're thinking the same thing, but Grasso gets hit. She absorbs the shots better than Valentina Shevchenko. She takes a big shot and makes it like it's nothing. She took big shots to the body, took some kicks to the body. Josh, when you get hit with a damn kick that's open, your arm misses it, it hits your ribs. I don't give a shit if it's the toes, the top of your foot, the shin. It all hurts. You feel it. And she, just walked right through it like, didn't even give ground, didn't take time to step back and take a breath. And I was like, man, I'll tell you what, she takes a big shot. She takes a hard shot and she just keeps on coming. And she did that throughout the fight. She got hit with the jab repeatedly. I thought that was one of the best weapons that Valentina had, but she handled it well. It made Valentina win rounds, no doubt about it. And I thought Valentina's grappling, Grasso has gotten so much better with her grappling because Valentina used to really dominate people. On the ground. She was known as a striker, but she was really good with her ground. And Alexa Grasso, nullified a lot of what she did. There were moments where you can take a look and say, well, Shevchenko was trying to put submissions on Grasso. There was moments that Grasso was trying to put submissions on Shevchenko. But when it got to the end of the fourth round, I thought they had an even fight. Now, when you say even, it's even on the scorecards. I would say within those 4 rounds, if I was just going to, utilize something like One does or Pride used to and say, you know what, I think that one fighter's a little bit ahead of the other, I would have said Shevchenko was a little bit ahead with, the scoring that she did, but it was even on the scorecards the way, it is under the unified rules. And going into the 5th round, I thought that Valentina was looking very good for the first 3.5 minutes. She was doing very well. She was landing that jab. She was the one controlling the fight. She was ahead until she made the same kind of mistake. Mm-hmm. She did the spinning, I think it was the spinning back kick that got her in trouble in the first fight. And this one, she goes, she grabs a hold of the head. You see Grasso slip that, and as soon as that head slips out and she's got her back, and it was all downhill, if you're going to say, for Shevchenko from that point. She didn't land anything. She didn't do anything good as far as there was nothing for her. She was put into submission positions. The submissions didn't work. She took shots, and from that point, it was all Alexa Grasso to the end of the round. The real question is, do I give that round a 10-8? No, I don't. I don't see that as a score in this. And I think when you're looking at, judges and what they're looking at, there's, differences in rounds. And so that first round, close round, but I had it going to Shevchenko. Mm-hmm. Second round, little bit disparaging because you had the knockdown, even though I think it was more off balance, but it hurt her. There was times when you saw Shevchenko get hurt in that fight, and the second round was one of them, but a little bit better than the first round, but you can't give it a 10-8, And I think by the end of that fight, Mike Bell is the judge that gave the 10-8. He was looking, saying that, she was close to putting her away with that. And that's why he gives her the 10-8. I don't agree with it. I don't think it was a 10-8, but I thought it was clear that it was Alexa Grasso that wins that round, even though Shevchenko, I don't care how much time you're winning the round. It's how much are you winning it by. And you could lose a round that you win 4.5 minutes of. In 30 seconds, you could end up losing that round based upon damage taken, shots taken, 0 offense, and you're getting blitzed. I thought that Shevchenko lost that round, and I would have given it to Alexa Grasso, and I would have had Grasso winning the fight.
So you had it 1 for Valentina, 2 for Grasso.
No, 1-3 for Valentina and 2-4 for Grasso.
Okay. Did I get to 3? I said 2 was Grasso, right? And okay, anyways.
You said you had 1-4 for Valentina.
Yeah. No, I said 1. I said you had round 1 for, as in for her.
Oh,
not
okay,
for
sorry.
anyways.
I apologize.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I think everything you said was pretty on point, man. Good job, John. Way to cover it.
Well, thank you.
Good.
Are
Okay,
we
let's
done?
move on. Next fight. No,
Okay.
It was. I thought Valentina seemed like she was the faster fighter, the more assertive fighter, the one that was pushing on the pace a little bit, trying to get in her grill. What I was very impressed by was Alexa Grasso's almost like stoic face, where she just didn't seem fazed by anything that was going on.
Come on, dude. You got to admit,
Yeah.
some of those shots were hard, and she just walked through them.
There was a moment there where I think in the end of the first, she had got like taken down, and she had like the double chest wrap kind of, but she was in her guard, and you could tell that she was just holding a position to try to figure out what she needed to get done or what kind of Valentina was going to give her. But the camera hit right on her face, and there was no expression, not like, or I'm trying to hold no tension, nothing. I don't know. I have never met Alexa Grasso, but she seems like someone who is just not there to fuck around.
She's a savage.
Yeah.
There's no doubt she's got that thing about her that she has that inner fire that I'm just going to be here till I fuck you up.
Yeah, it's a really weird, I don't know. I guess sometimes I've seen it from guys. Some guys have that little bit of a, they're just, that's the way they are.
Yeah.
but I haven't seen it from a female fighter that has been that way. It just seems like there's nothing really that bothers them. They just kind of come out and just do their thing. I don't know. She has something going on that's just driving her and pushing her. And where I saw the difference last night was, even though Valentina was looking like she was landing some good shots, they never looked like they landed as hard as Alexa Grasso's. Yeah. Alexa Grasso also, she would take the shot and still move her head and keep boxing. And so after she got hit, it was almost like Valentina expected her to kind of wilt and step away, where Alexa, she got hit and then she just threw her combination anyways, like a boxer would. I got hit a little bit. It's okay. I'm going to keep throwing my combination, and that combination landed, and that was the last thing the judges saw. And Valentina didn't absorb, like you said, she didn't absorb the shots as well as Alexa Grasso did. Every time she got hit, it pushed her back. It made her take a step back. It made her circle left or right. I mean, that's a very smart fight IQ on Valentina Shevchenko's part. But if that's the last thing I see from a judge, in the exchange between the two of you, you hit a good jab. Sure, that snapped her head back, but then she hit you with a two-piece. I'm going to go with the person that hit you with the two-piece, especially the one that made you go backwards. And so she then became the one dictating the pace of the fight, which every time I'm watching the fight, I'm like, no, Valentina's dictating the pace of the fight. She's stepping forward. She's sticking the jab in the face. But Alexa Grasso was making her move and hitting her with some good hard shots. It was a weird and hard fight for me to judge, because Alexa didn't do as much. She didn't seem as active, but when she did land, it seemed like it landed effectively, and it made Valentina take a step back. I thought the two of them fought their asses off. There was a lot at stake. You could tell that Valentina, she believed that she was the better fighter. I learned last night that she's a little bit of a sore loser. That's what I learned. And I've always.
Why do you say that?
Well, because what she said, she's like, well, I felt like I won the fight, and they gave it to her because it's Mexican Independence Day. And I was like, wow. No, you lost the fight. It was actually really just a draw. It was a good fight. It was a close fight back and forth. And whether you agree whether it was a draw or not, it was a good fight. And I could see how they ended up with that.
Close fight.
It was a close fight.
Yeah.
And what I mean by a good fight, like, those are normally, they're hard to judge. Both of them could have done more. Both of them had a good fight. Both of them could have taken a couple more chances, but then it would have cost them an opportunity to win in the title or keep in the title. So I can't knock it. I was in the same situation with Gilbert in the third fight. Either one of us really took a whole lot of chances. It was a lot more strategic fight than the first two. And so I understand. I know this is their second fight, but Valentina, being the champ for so long, she just wanted to get her title back and move on. Well, it worked against her because she could have done a little bit more. I felt like she could have pushed a little bit harder. She could have done a little bit more. And Alexa Grasso was like, look, I'm the champion. I'm here to just do what I did in the first fight and just wait for you to make a mistake, which, honestly, Valentina's whole career, very few mistakes in her career. Very few. But Alexa Grasso was very quick to jump on those mistakes every time she made one in both of their fights. One of them led to the submission, and the second one almost led to another submission. I mean, that last round, she had her turtling from her back, trying to figure out which way to go to stop the ground and pound when she got to mount. It was pretty nasty. So I could see maybe the 10-8 because they're trying to be a little bit more liberal with the 10-8s. They're trying to give them out a little bit more. And I don't know. It's a hard fight to judge. It was a good fight. It was a hard fight to judge. In all fairness, I had to go back and rewatch it because the next fight, the fight before it, had put me to sleep. So I was, and so I had to I woke up in round 4 of the Alexa Grasso fight and Valentina Shevchenko fight. John, I don't know how it's horrible, man. Living here in Texas, man. It's horrible. It's fucking like 12 something there. It's almost 12 and the main event's starting. I was like, man, I've been up since 5. I'm like, this is shit. This is horrible.
The part that's bad is this is where you really appreciate when a fight card is good and all the fights are action packed and exciting because it keeps you going. You can watch it. And as soon as one is like a little bit of a snoozer, you go, okay, this is tough because you start nodding, man. It's like I got to keep myself up, so I got to start, smacking myself. But yeah, it's a little bit it's a little harsh I don't want to say on the East Coast. Think of places around the world like Ireland and England. The people are watching, and think of what time it is there. So I think it's tough on the East Coast. It's even worse in other places. But.
So what I've seen though is I've seen a couple things from some media that they're really boasting about this fight, and they're giving they're giving ladies their credit, which I agree. Give them all the credit in the world. I think this was a fantastic fight. It was good back and forth. Where I look at females MMA is it's kind of just past that Frank Shamrock era of MMA. They've got the cardio down now. They're learning to get the output down. They're putting together a little bit of the wrestling. Some of them have better wrestling than others. Majority of the time, it's striking because they don't have that next level wrestling. Some of them are getting pretty damn good with the submission games. They're, control from the top. You only have a select few that are that way though. You got like, Mackenzie Dern. I can't remember her name. She seems like she has one eye that kind of like floats around. Verna.
Yendarova?
Yeah. I think her name's Verna.
Yeah. Verna
Something. Yeah. Anyways, but, there's some really good jiu-jitsu, practitioners in the game, in the female side. But they haven't fully evolved their full game. Because, I wouldn't say they started later. They just didn't get to the prime time, and there was a lot of them there to make each other better. I don't want to put too much emphasis just yet and start making them something that they potentially. I got to be careful how I put this, John. You know this. They are spectacular. All of them are, and just I love the growth.
Walk away.
I know, but I love the growth in which I'm seeing from them. But they still have some work to do in terms of making themselves a full all the way around game. Like Frank Shamrock was never the best striker. Okay, he's in that he was a good grappler. He never could fucking wrestle, but he weaponized conditioning and cardio. Maurice Smith was never a great grappler. He started getting really good towards the end. Weaponized his cardio, was good, great kickboxer. They're kind of. I feel like females MMA has just passed. The Frank Shamrock era. They're into that second kind of stage of when Tito made his runs into his title shots and up there. Where do you think that females MMA is right now after watching this fight?
I'm going to say the same thing, and it's the one thing you're talking about mistakes. How many times do you see male fighters grabbing heads? Okay, now they'll grab it, in a guillotine, different when it's facing them, something like that. But reaching over the top, almost, you can have a head and arm toss and those things and stuff, but yeah, it's almost because Ronda Rousey got away with it for so long with her judo that she would grab the head and get the takedown and stuff. Women's MMA, they tend to do that just way more than men. They grab the head, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And it didn't work for Valentina last night in that 5th round, but they do things at times that you'll see that men stay away from. It's just different. The men do not go for that type of technique where the women do, and so they are different. It's a different. I don't know. I want to say it's not different in levels. Obviously, there's different levels and stuff, but it's just a different mindset in what I will attempt to do and what I stay away from completely.
Well, you'll find guys that do that. Who does it a lot? Who did it almost every fucking time he was in the clinch was Daniel Cormier. He did it every single time. He would throw his hand over the top, like right around their neck. And we'd always get on him about it. He's like, that's just the way that I wrestle, man. And it worked for him. It was the way that he tried to kind of tip you a little bit, and then he'd try to foot sweep you. And when he couldn't get the foot sweep, he'd come back inside sometimes for an inside trip. Obviously he could fucking wrestle the shit out of everybody if he wanted to. Pretty close, but it was his style of wrestling. It was almost a little bit of a hang on you style, put pressure on you. But guys like him can get away with it. 2-time Olympic Olympian.
Olympic team member.
Yeah, Olympic team member. Like guys like him can get away with it. Henry Cejudo, they can get away with it when they want to. You're talking that's a next level position that they feel comfortable in against people that are not obviously on their level in the wrestling department. I want to see the growth. They're doing fantastic, but I think the media they're really upplaying this right now. That Yeah, they're just upplaying it a little bit. It was a great fight, back and forth. Mistakes were made, but it was a fantastic fight. I'm not trying to be negative. I feel like people are gonna listen to this and think I'm trying to be negative. Both of them were fantastic fighters. I don't want to put too much on it, saying that that there's not room for growth in this. There's a ton of room for growth, and I honestly believe, whatever female fighter comes with that next level wrestling and starts putting together the boxing. A little bit how Alexa Grasso right now. Her wrestling has gotten really good in terms of stuffing takedowns. Yeah, stuffing takedowns. The way she hipped Valentina Shevchenko over from the wizard position at one moment in the fight, I was like, holy shit. She hipped her over to her side, almost to her back. That type of wrestling or those, and then put that together with the boxing and little bit of minimize of kicks in there. I think that's when you're going to start seeing the next level of females come up, where it's just going to be grimy. They're just going to get on each other with the knees, the clinch. It's going to be a grimy style of female fighting. Right now, it's a lot of stick and move. It's a lot of stick and move, and
we'll talk about one that maybe there wasn't that same thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with you. I understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this: when it comes down to this decision and the draw and the 10-8 round and everything, how many people have you heard say, well, I agree with the draw, but I don't agree with the score? Okay. You had one judge that went with Alexa Grasso. You had one judge that went with Valentina Shevchenko, and you had one judge say it's even. Mm-hmm. It's just, just the scores themselves. I'm personally, I didn't agree with the 10-8, but I'm okay, with the rest of the scores and how things went. But it was as close as you can get. It is what it is, and it's like, why are you people upset when a fight is that close and you have it become a draw? I heard people say there should never be a draw in a title fight. What the frick are you talking about? We've had a lot.
Yeah.
How about Cal Uno versus BJ Penn, which stopped you from being able to be in the UFC?
Yeah.
Okay, that was one of the ones that started off, and you had freaking like Gray Maynard and Frankie Edgar, and you had Stephen Thomson against Tyron Woodley. Ankalaev and Blachowicz. That was, I think, the most recent. There's been a ton. Probably 5 or 6 that have ended that way.
Yeah, look,
judging
you have no control over. And I think it's funny that the commentating last night was talking about that they if we had a half point system, I was like, it would make a big difference. We don't.
Yeah. We don't. I'd like to get into why we don't.
Yeah,
but the people that are commentating there, they're working for the company that doesn't want that.
I think it's the best way to do it. Honestly, I can't think of another way that would make it. Everyone talked about open scoring. They were on, all the commentators, all the media, all they wanted was open scoring for a while. Dumb, stupid. I just can't do it. I can't imagine knowing that someone can just skirt on the outside and then you have a guy taking a lot of chances, potentially getting knocked out, ruining his career, all those things. I get it when you're down. You got to get after it, whatever. But then, then you end up with...
You should know that, though. Or you should know that, I might be losing this. Know.
If the fight's close, why are you taking the chance?
There you go.
If the fight's close, like if the fight's close, get after it. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways we can look at this. I looked at, what was the fight? I think it was... what fight was it? I think it was Oscar De La Hoya versus Trinidad.
Oh, Trinidad.
Yeah, and he just thought he was up, and he circled around for like the last 2 or 3 rounds.
Last 3 rounds, yeah.
And then he ended up losing the fight.
Yep.
And I was like, I was sitting there with all my cousins watching the fight going, what are you doing? You're not winning by this much. You can't give away these rounds. And that's what, I feel like that's what you're going to get with open scoring. You're going to get a lot more of that, and yeah, and then everyone's going to be shocked. Well, no, he was winning. He was this. And then it's going to cause more problems. Yep. So, I don't know. Overall, ladies put on a great performance last night. And I feel like the right person won. It was close. I wouldn't have been mad if it went the other way. But let me ask you this. Do we see an automatic rematch?
No. Absolutely not. You got two. That's two
It's a draw.
in a row. Now it's close. Yeah, it is a draw.
Draw.
But you gotta let other blood come in there and have a shot at that title. You can always bring Valentina back, but you need to allow the rest of the people there. You just let the person that was number one, she got her shot, ended in a draw after losing to that person. And when I said losing that person, she tapped. That was a submission. Okay, so now you got submitted, and now you have one that it was close. It was a draw, but I got to let somebody else have a shot at that title. I got to bring some new life, new blood into it. I'm going to put somebody else up against Grasso.
It was a draw, John.
You're right. It
It was equal. It means that I deserve my shot.
No, you got your shot.
Okay.
It was your second one right in a row. You ain't going to get a third in a row.
I agree with you. I don't want to see that fight again. Not right now. Not right now. I want to see what's next. Who would be fighting her next? Who would fight Alexa Grasso next? And who would you want to see Valentina fight? Because she's already fought a ton of people in this weight class.
I mean, the two that you're going to look at right away is going to be either Erin Blanchfield, who is up in the top in the 125s, or Manuel Ferro, who just got the win against Rose Namajunas. I would think those are your two that you're looking at. And if you're going to go style for style, which is going to be Grasso is going to match up well with Manuel as far as the stand-up. So you're going to have a stand-up, not complete kickboxing. You could see either lady taking it to the ground, but both of them are very good in the stand-up, where that Blanchfield is going to be working at trying to take that thing to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they're going to give it her Erin Blanchfield. How old is Erin Blanchfield?
She's
23.
She's young.
She's a baby. Yeah. They're looking to probably stake their claim on having a young champion. And for those of you guys that don't think the UFC is doing that, they do that all the time. They're trying to make sure they have if they can get a young champion in there and keep a young champion for a period of time.
But they have that.
That's smart. Yeah, no, I get it. Grasso's what? She's older now. She's what, 29? How old is Alexa Grasso?
28, 25.
Yeah. Oh, she's 20.
She's
Grasso.
What's
Alexa
Grasso?
Grasso?
I was looking at it last night. I think she's 30.
30. 25, 30. Same thing, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought she was 29. Yeah. No, she's 30. Okay. Yeah, she got some time. She obviously has some time. But the UFC's job is to get somebody that's a little bit, try to get as young a champion as you can and see how long they can hold on to. Because there's a storyline there. And then on top of that, they don't have to keep buying belts. They can just try to keep one champion. They don't
do that now. Now they give that little ruby.
A little ruby thing. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Interesting.
So much for giving belts out all the time.
Oh, I know.
Save money.
Cut costs. Smart. They're not cheap, man, those belts.
No, they're not.
They're not cheap.
Anymore.
No. Yeah, that thing over my shoulder there on the right, it's it runs you probably about close to 11, 12 grand. Something like that. It's crazy. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and go to that next fight. Let's go. Let's see. You go Jack Della Maddalena versus Kevin Holland.
Okay, you can talk about this.
I fell asleep going in between rounds 2 and 3. Yeah, it was late. Man, it's the frustration level. It really is a frustration level with Kevin Holland. I sat on here and go, man, he's the underdog. There's no way I'm taking that bet. And luckily, I forgot to bet. But it was, I can't figure him out, John. What else gives me the creeps though right now is that he said he opened his own gym, he has his own spot, and now he's calling the shots. He said that.
Yeah, well,
that to me that's a big no-no. Yeah. Having your own gym, congratulations. I don't wish that upon anybody.
Yeah,
but having your own gym, it feels good. This is mine. I own it. It's my own place to train. All these things. I love it. I love all that. But the focus then becomes you're able to control your training. That's never a good thing. You've got to have a trainer that controls your training for you. This is the time we work out. We meet every single day at this time. No, I don't care about your
doing today.
Yeah, this is what we're doing today. You don't call the shots. Yeah, this is what we're doing. This is our schedule. I'll let you set it in the beginning. If you want to work out at 10 a.m. and then again later at say 6:30 at night, That's fine. We can do that. I'll be there at those. If the trainer's going to give you the time to choose. Because like for me with Javier, I hated the fact that we worked out at noon. I hated it because we had to come back at 6 and we didn't get done working out till 2. We didn't get out of the gym until 2, and 4 hours later, 5 hours later, we had to come back. And I was like, this sucks. It was depending on whatever. It was like 6, 6:30, 7 o'clock, something like that. It was like just not enough break. Koscheck and I and Fitch, we always complained about it. Let's work out at 9 a.m. Let's work out at 10. No. As soon as we all
don't want to get up.
No, as soon as we all left, guess what? Training's at 9 a.m. Drives me fucking crazy. All of us, we wanted it so early for so long. Look, if you want to let your trainer call out the times, or you're not your trainer, but your fighters call out what time they want to train, cool. I get it, but you got to be there and be consistent. I don't know if calling the shots made a difference, but in this fight, he just can't seem to use fight IQ. You're better on the ground. I saw one takedown, I think in the second, maybe in the third, something like that. Second, like somewhere around. I think it was the second. Tried to shoot kind of a half-assed body lock, didn't get it.
Josh, just let's go off of length. Mm-hmm. All right. It is a serious advantage if you use it correctly, or it's nothing. And you take a look, and his opponent is not a person that wants to take this fight to the ground. So kicking is a good thing to do. That teep kick up the middle, the oblique kicks to the legs, calf kicks down low. All of these techniques. Now, you got to be careful with the calf kicks as far as you can get hit with a counter right hand or something like that, depending upon what side you're going to. But all of these things that you have a distinct advantage in your length and reach, and you're letting someone crush that space, and you're now getting into throwing elbows inside, and it's like that's not to your advantage. Your advantage is in keeping it at the distance, and at times Kevin did, and then he just let it go. Yeah. Just let it go, and I'm like, I love the fact that he's super talented. He seems to really like to fight. Mm-hmm. But he just, at times, I just look at him and I want someone to shake him and say, you could be so much better. But
hey, some fighters have that way of getting in their own way.
Yeah. And
I feel like he's one of them. He's talented. He's got all the tools. He could obviously grow as a fighter like most fighters can. But I'm not gonna put it all on him. Jack Della Maddalena made it he fought his fight. He didn't get out of his fight. He stayed in his lane. He understands what he was good at. Stuff the takedowns, let the hands go, throw a couple kicks here and there to get you thinking about him, and keep my back off the fence, those kind of things. And we sat up here and said that we thought that that Maddalena was hit harder, had more power in his hands, and it sure looked like it, because every time that he tried to hit Kevin Holland backed up, circled away, leaned his head back, was able to get out of the reach of a lot of it, but it looked like it was having an effect on him. Whether he hit him in the chest, whether he hit him on the shoulder, whatever it was, it looked like it was having an effect on Kevin Holland, and it looked like it was making him not want to engage. That lets you know right there that whatever that Jack Della Maddalena is doing, maybe it doesn't look like it's all that great, but it's having an effect on his opponents. Because he makes his guys go backwards. When he fights them, he makes them go backwards. He's got a little bit of that ginger to him. He's got the power. Feels like he's got that kind of, strength that we talk about. It's got he seems like he's extremely strong, and he's got some power behind him, and he puts fear in people as he starts touching them. They're like, wow, this guy hits harder than he looks. It hurts kind of to get in there. I've trained with guys like that. It was painful kind of to touch their body. You're like, oh, this isn't comfortable. You physically feel strong. You got like them sharp bones or, real tense muscles, and everything just kind of hurts. He looks like he has that. He must have that feeling, because the guys he fight, they don't seem to want to engage. His last fight was a really good fight.
Yeah.
A little bit of back and forth, but it was a
great fight by his opponent. But
yeah, great fight.
This one here, and you take a look, there was a guy who, hey, he knew where his road to victory was, and he kept going after it. And in this fight with, against Holland just I'm just out here. I'm going to just do my thing and we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. It's like he didn't have a game plan of this is what I need to do to get a win against this guy. This is where it needs to be. It was like, we'll see. Once I'm out there, we'll see what happens. Maybe not, but it's just that was the impression that I got from the way he fought it.
Yeah. Next fight.
Then you got to go and say, well, you want to be super impressive. I love the way both guys came out. Terrence Mitchell, we knew has got good wrestling, very long, very, he'll throw going up against the young phenom, an 18-year-old Raul Rosas Jr. They came out slinging, man. They were both slinging leather, going hard. Probably not the best and smartest way to start the fight for either guy, but damn entertaining. Loved the way that Rosas sat him to his butt. He definitely hurt him with that left hand when it didn't look like it hit that hard, but it's one of those ones that, it just pushes the chin straight down, doesn't have the twist, and you could see that for a moment he was frozen. He was able to at least gather himself as he was hitting the ground, but not enough to get himself back in the fight, and the fight was stopped. It should have been, and it was a very nice comeback win for Mr. Rosas Jr.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I thought, a little sloppy with the stand up. I sound like I'm sounding like very negative today, but
nasty.
It's it was a little bit of a sloppy exchange from both of them. They were getting after it. I love it. They were both aggressive. Both of them, had some good exchanges. Both landed some clean shots, and it really just came down to who got to whose chin first. I think Rojas Jr.'s got a little bit better of I don't want to say better of a chin, but he was absorbing the shots a little bit better. Mitchell, I would have thought he would have tried to stick and move, keep that on the outside, make Rojas Jr. kind of wing some shots, miss some shots, and then make him a little bit tired. Avoiding the takedowns or avoiding the submission game was key. But look, they got into the exchange, and this is what happens. I mean, when you have two young fighters and they're willing to trade like that, it's really just for the fans. Congratulations.
Look, the fight didn't last a minute, so it's not like they were in there long.
No.
Yeah, but both guys going for it, and I appreciate that. I know that's the second loss in a row for Terrence Mitchell, but he's got to figure out where is my strength and let me play it. He's very Kevin Holland like in the fact that it's super long for that weight class. Man, he's got a huge reach, and he can wrestle. It's just he does remind me of, not in the way he fights and stuff, but coming from Anchorage, Alaska, just like Jared Cannonier did. Look, he was the big dog there, and he was getting all these wins and stuff. And there's levels, and those guys that you're facing up in Alaska, and not that they're not tough, but they just don't have the same skill set. And so you're going to have to just continue to increase your skill set, and you'll come up with those wins. But I do love the way that they just went after each other.
I think mentally it's good for fighters to go and train other places, because then you can realize that other fighters out of other gyms, the shitty, like small little hole-in-the-wall gyms you never heard of. I mean, I used to walk into gyms and go, man, I'm better than all these guys. And then you get in there and you start grappling with these guys, or start wrestling with these guys, start sparring with these guys. You're like, wow, there's this little thing they do that's difficult to read. And they're hitting me with it every time, or they're taking me down with it every time, or they're putting me in danger
used to
here.
It's something different.
And so you have to tune that out, that you can go into any fight. Oh, I'm way better than him. You possibly are, but there's something about the way that fighter fights that they got him to this level, and there's a reason behind it. And so don't think you're just going to go in there and like, oh, all the things that they do, or I'm going to walk right through it. That's why it's so impressive anytime a fighter gets an early knockout or early submission, or dominates for, the fight, is because you're fighting someone who you've never been around, you've never trained with, you've never experienced their strength, their speed, their movement, their abilities to shoot submissions fast or not, whatever it is. It's eye-opening, I think, for fighters when they first get in there. They play that little, fill-out game, that's why it's so impressive to see these fighters get after it right off the bat and just like throw caution to the wind. And that's what these two did. Hey, whatever happens, happens. And it was a good fight. Good. I know it didn't last long, but feel bad for Terrence Mitchell because that's two in a row. I know the first one he took, I think, on short notice, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 weeks notice or something. I think, and then this one here, he had a full camp going against their darling, Rojas Jr. So it's, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they do with him. I think they'll keep him for a third fight, see if he can make a comeback. Next one.
Then we had, you want to talk about impressive performances. Daniel Zellhuber, who we talked about. We said, man, this young kid is good. Going up against Christos Gallegos. Christos was fighting a good fight. He was fighting the way he needed to. He was really working hard at the takedowns, but man, it was so impressive, the takedown defense of Zellhuber and the way he would just shucked him off, just stuffed everything quickly and shut everything down. And then just the crispness and the sharpness of his stand-up game and what he was hitting him with. Yep. And then right away, when given the opportunity off of a takedown attempt, here's your opportunity. Boom, slides right into the anaconda. Man, makes it tight right away. We didn't even get the leg. Wasn't even. He just crushed the space by turning the body and was able to get the tap. Man, you could see it out of, Extreme Couture is where he trains at. You could see how they love this kid. He is special because he's, super polite, just a good person, super young, and super talented.
Yeah, I mean, when someone has that type of length, like Kevin Holland, like him, I mean, that choke is there almost at any time. Anytime you have that front headlock, that choke is there.
Long levers.
Yeah, and so you've got to be prepared to fight someone like that. That's why Tony Ferguson had such a run for a while. I mean, he would hit that thing from anywhere.
Especially the Darce.
Yeah, the Darce or the Anaconda. He would hit it from anywhere, from on his butt. The other guy that does it really well is Yaroslav Amosov. He hits that thing from everywhere. So he hits that front headlock. I've seen him hit it. When he hit it on Logan Sterling, he hit it from his butt. And Logan was on the legs. Yeah, Logan was on the legs, and he hit it from there. Very impressive stuff. So if you have somebody that likes to attack that move, you got to be ready and prepared for them to try to hit that thing anywhere. I've seen guys hit it from the bottom. You've got side control on them, and they just hit it from the bottom, and they just try to roll you through. It's pretty impressive. I'm like, what in the hell are you trying to do? You're not getting this. Oh shit, it's getting tighter.
Oh yes, you can.
Oh yeah, it's getting tighter. It just has to do with their limb length. Yeah. No different than like kind of how the buggy choke is. The buggy choke is really effective when you have long limbs.
Super long levers.
Yeah.
Yep.
So overall performance though was very good by Zellhuber or whatever.
Zellhuber.
I don't have my glasses on. Zellhuber. So good by him and good stuff. Next fight.
Yeah. Kyle Nelson taking on Fernando Padilla in the opening of the main card. Kyle Nelson, very tough. Guy from Canada. He's super aggressive. He comes after guys. I was really surprised at Padilla and the way that he approached the fight. I thought Padilla won the first round. I thought, pressure. He landed. He's super long. He's landed clean shots for the most part. He kind of opened up Nelson, but from that first round on, just didn't fight smart. Just didn't fight real well, and it allowed Nelson back in the fight. Allowed Nelson to start taking control of, where the engagements were happening and how they were going to happen. And it was almost, in my opinion, one of those a young, talented kid not using smarts, not being smart in the way that you want to approach your opponent, thinking that I can just walk through you. You can't just walk through people. You got to be smart in the way you do it, and I think it's going to be a good learning experience for Padilla, though.
I think so. Godinez had a good fight, dominant control from the top.
Oh,
she just dominated everything.
Hold on. We were talking about, what I said. There's fights that we could talk about. Lupita Godinez was a savage. She dominated that fight.
Yeah.
She did everything that she wanted to do when she wanted to do it. The takedowns that she hit, the transitions that she was going through. Elise Reed was just, she was getting mauled.
Yeah.
I give her credit, man. She was tough. That arm bar was nasty at the end. I'm looking at the hyperextension of the arm, and you can see Herb is sitting there, and he's like, because what he's waiting for. And I'm going to go to it. This happened, this fight was after the no contest, and we'll talk about that. Dominic. Okay, it's great. You pumped Herb up, and that's great. Okay, but there was nothing going on that, it's a matter of we allow professional fighters to be in control in a submission. We let them go unless we see damage. We see it dislocate. We see a break. We see something where there's absolute damage. We're going to call an end to the fight. If it's an amateur fight, Herb would have stopped that fight because it's like, you're not getting out and I'm not going to let your arm go. You're not the person that's going to make the choice. I'm going to be the person. But as a professional, there's money involved. There's records involved. We're going to let it go to that point where we see damage. It's a matter of Herb just did his job. Good job, Herb. It's like he didn't do anything special. What's special is how much Elise Reed put up with. The amount of pressure on that arm and the way that she was able to fight her way through that, because it was definitely on and it was painful, and she fought her way through it. But then it just came out in the second round and it just started all over again. Lupita was all over. Great performance. Godinez is really looking good.
Yeah, she is. She had that top control, heavy hips, just putting the pressure down, great ground and pound, doing some work, to pass guard, get to the top position, get mount, get back. She did everything. That's what you're looking for. We got to fine tune her stand up a little bit more. But she's kind of what I was talking about. A little bit of that, like Alexa Grasso making the steps and the gains. Valentina Shevchenko was a little bit ahead of her time in terms of using her wrestling. She's a world-class kickboxer. All of these things. Godinez is headed in that direction. Fine tune the stand up a little bit more. Let's go ahead and utilize some more kicks. Let's get our head offline, not be so hittable. These are the things that I'm looking at when I'm watching the female fights. I want to see the gains that they're improving on. I want to see the movement, the head movement. I want to see the slip and the counter. I want to see the step off line and counter. I want to see the step off line, hit to the takedown, hit the high crotch, then run to the double. I want to see all of these things, right to the takedown, right to passing, not just falling into the guard. There's steps in a process of getting them to the next level. They are there. This is amazing to watch. She got the takedown right into the pass. Not like you see that from people like Mackenzie Dern. You don't see that from all the female fighters. They get the takedown and then they stop.
Lupita's that person that's always had stand up and aggression, and she goes after, and she's that, she's almost, I want to say a brawling style, but she's got a brawling style in the stand up.
Like a Betch Kohea
head in there.
Like Betch Kohea, remember her?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And she will go after you. But now she's backing it up where she can take it to the ground too. And if that's what she's getting out of Team Lobo, man, congratulations. You picked the right spot for you, because you are absolutely progressing as a fighter. And she's now becoming multidimensional. That's just going to make her a better overall fighter for the rest of her career.
Yeah, I thought it was a great dominant performance. I have to agree with you on that as well. Next fight.
Another one. Roman Kopylov against Josh Fremd. This is one of those ones. Kopylov, we thought we'd look at him. He's like Chase Hooper's dad. They look the same, man. He's just a bigger version of Chase Hooper as far as, but man, he's got power in his hands, and he lands beautiful kicks, beautiful shots to the body. This guy can go everywhere as far as, in the stand-up. He is just technically very good. Makes smart decisions, great timing, and Josh Fremd, very good grappler. You could tell that he was looking to get the fight to the ground. He just was getting hit with shots that were hurting him over and over and over again until the end. With you could see when the kick hit the body, and you saw him kind of leaning in, and he's sticking his elbow down there. You've been there. I've been there. It's one of those, okay, that really freaking hurt.
Yeah. I'm
trying to breathe, and just give me and then he comes right back to the body with the liver shot, and just put him to his knees, and your body it shuts down. There's nothing you can do, but it was a beautiful performance overall by Kopylov. He's starting to get on a roll.
Yeah, the confidence is there. He realizes what he's doing is working. He's explosive. The head kicks, the fast hands.
Fast.
He seems faster than what appears on TV. because it seems like the fighters, they're respecting his speed and his power both. And the way he mixes it up really well, it keeps him guessing. So good for him. He goes to the body a lot with the kicks, which is very important. A lot of fighters don't do it enough. They go to the calf kick a lot, which is good. But a lot of fighters are still doing the legs as much as possible, which I think is good. But don't forget about that body. That'll open up the head kick a lot. It'll open it up. And so he's on track. Is he ranked right now? Can you look him up? Is Kopylov ranked?
I mean, might be in
top 15.
Maybe towards 15. Nope.
No, he's not.
Nope.
Interesting. I mean, like, he hasn't fought a high level competition, but he's still fighting guys that are tough. Our friend's pretty tough. So, but good for him. Good performance. Good win. Another finish. He's on track, man. Confidence is building. Look for him to probably get offered a top 15 guy right now, somewhere in there, maybe even a top 10, like a 10 or 11. So good for him. Let's go ahead and talk about the next fight, which was a no contest.
Yeah, explain to me what happened.
John,
it's so simple. Go ahead.
It's the fight game, man. Like the refs are in a pinch. It's I don't know. I don't want to bag on people, but it's not. John, I've never reffed anything. I've reffed like a couple like smoker fights. I've reffed a couple like events, that are just it's a couple little small MMA shows. There were amateur fights, to do it for what is it called? California Amateur. Yeah, I've done it a couple times for them. It's not easy. It's not easy, and so I hate to hear people that say things like, it's your job. It's just, I get it. It's their job. I do get it. But there's a fine line between letting the fighter fight out and the fighter being choked out too long. It's like, you gotta give him a minute. If I give him a minute, he could fucking die. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I give him a minute being choked out, that's a long time, buddy. Yeah. And so I get it. I understand. I would be so fucking mad. But
you don't think he is? You don't think he's upset with himself?
He's really mad. But other refs have made the same mistakes. There's plenty of them have, and they made it on the biggest stages in some of the biggest fights.
Yep.
And we just got to look past it. Look, we chalked it up to fighter safety. That's the way I chalk it up. I mean, look, he looked like his arm dropped, his right arm dropped. And okay, if I'm thinking now, I maybe would have shaken it a little bit to see if I would have got a reaction out of him.
Stop with that goddamn shaking bullshit.
Okay, I would have done something. I mean, I would have shook his arm.
Okay, you would have.
Yeah, I would have shook his arm.
Yeah,
I would have shook to see if there was any tension still left in it.
So let's take the arm and put it someplace that doesn't belong. And when you do, guess what? What's gonna happen when he's there? He's gonna move it. If you sit there and shake, and he's trying to relax, you can do a shake. You're the one controlling the arm, and you're hoping that he's going to give some resistance. You're hoping, but that doesn't always happen. And so when you're hoping he's going to give some resistance, I want to take the arm and I want to move it into a place where all of a sudden it's like he's going to pull it back. He's going to put it in. Yes, you are. You're creating a situation where he's got to move his arm. I'm going to make you move the arm to see if you're there. If you don't move it, then it's telling me yes, you're out, and I'm going to come in and stop the fight. But this comes, just because the UFC and the WWE are now owned by the same company. I guess it's not even Endeavor; it's TKO now.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the old Hulk Hogan bullshit. Okay, this whole shaking of the arm. Because Hulk Hogan used to get put into a fucking rear naked choke, we'll say, and he's sitting on his ass.
Don't be jealous.
He's sitting on his ass, and the fucking, whoever it is, The Rock or whoever, has got him in this shit choke that is fake as hell. And Dave is going crazy and loving it. He's just absolutely, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. And the referee looks at Hulk, and the Hulk is sitting there and he's like shaking. All of a sudden his arms start to go down and the referee picks his arm up and lets go of it. And his arm drops and hits the ground. And then he does it again. And the Hulkster's arm, it drops. And then the third time, always the third time, the whole arm's picked up, and he starts just shaking. And oh my God, he's going to come out of it. We don't pick up arms and shake them. We move them to a place where they don't belong, or I can put tension on them where the tension's going to want to come back. That's going to tell you whether the person's out or not. But this whole, Dominic was very big, and I don't mean to say anything bad about Herb. Herb did a phenomenal job last night. He had a great show. But Herb had the same situation occur with Robbie Lawler against Ben Askren. Ben Askren's putting him into a choke, different type of choke, obviously. But Robbie Lawler decides, I'm just going to relax, lets his arm kind of flops, and Herb does the shake and stops the fight. And Robbie Lawler goes, what are you doing? The only difference is they didn't have a replay official at the time that came in and said, hey, we want to make that a no contest. You stop that, he was not out. That's what happened here. It's a no contest. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks for both fighters in the fact that, you have this situation now based upon the pay, the way the UFC structures it and breaks it down. No one is getting that win money. You have your show money and you have your win money, and now you don't even have the chance. Someone's taken away that opportunity for you to win that money. And that's where the real problem is, when you're looking at this as a no contest or a no decision. What I've heard people talk about, they should just restart them. It's tough.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now. I did a fight one time, and it was in Virginia, and it wasn't for the UFC. It was for another promotion. And during a fight where one of the fighters puts the other fighter into this, super deep omoplata at the time, and this thing is on, it's done perfectly, and he's cranking and he's trying to, and the guy's putting up with, and all of a sudden all the lights go off. It's black. There's enough light you can see, a little bit, but I have to stop the fight. So I stopped the fight, right? I pull them out of the position. I can't have them fight in the dark. And we, wait, and we see how long. Okay, it's going to be 10 minutes before the lights are completely up. I put them back in the same position. And I'm telling this one guy, crank it more, crank it more, crank it more. But there's no way that I can get it exactly where it was at. There's, because you, as the person who's getting cranked, are now starting to adjust. So you're in a little bit better position than you were in when he had it the first time. And we start the fight, and the guy gets out of it. And I was just like, there's nothing more you can do. It sucks, but it is what it is. So if you were going to try to restart this and put them back into the same position, are you going to adjust the fight in any way? Sure you are. Is it a choice? It's a choice that possibly, can be brought up and they can do. But the real problem with the ending is both guys get shorted out on money in some way. No one was able to get that money. So it was a mistake. It was a mistake by Chris. Dominic jumped all over him, and that's Dominic's, he has that, ability. It's his job, if you want to look at it and say it. But Dominic says some things that, he has no idea, but he opens up his mouth and says those things like, you shouldn't be in there if you don't grapple. Well, there's different types of grappling, Josh. Chris Taioni was a good wrestler. He was a guy that wrestled for most of his life. He attained a lot higher status in wrestling than Dominic Cruz ever did. Okay, now Dominic was a better fighter, no doubt about it. And if I was gonna say, does Chris have, a limitation when it comes to the submission and jiu-jitsu part? Sure, he's not that guy. He's the wrestling coach guy. But to sit there and to, it's not as easy as you think. And until we have guys, take a look at Frank Trigg. Was he a fighter?
Yeah.
He's a damn good fighter, right? Good wrestler. Chris Lehman We got all these guys that have been good fighters and now are trying to referee or judge, and they'll all tell you, dude, it's not what you think. Holy shit. And it's because you're supposed to be perfect all the time. Hard to be perfect all the time. Hard to be right and make everybody happy, because you're trying to make the fighters happy. You're trying to make the promotion happy. You're trying to make the commission happy. And the commission happy and the promotion happy are two different directions, because promotion wants the fight to be exciting. They want it to be done right. The commission wants the fight to be exciting. They want it to be safe. So you're always playing that, balancing act. And I feel bad for Chris that this happened, but there is systems in place that he needs to adjust to. When you see somebody and you're going to make a stop, here's what I want you to do first, just to make sure in that situation, based upon the fact, if you look at the choke, that's not a good choke. And that's where Dominic was right. You look at how the arm was across and what he was doing, it's going to be really hard, because you only have possibly one side of the carotid, and you really didn't have the larynx to push up against the carotid arteries. So Dominic was right about that, but mistakes are made. This is what happens. But they did it right in that no one got a loss.
Yeah. Okay, so you said, do you restart the fight? And you had a very long-winded answer, but no, I don't think you do.
Yeah.
The reason why you don't is the emotions of the fighter who won.
Everything
is off. I just won this fight. Now I got to fight this guy again. What are you talking about? You stopped the fight. I won the fight. And then the other fighter's like, yeah, let's go. I'm motivated now. I get a second chance. It just changes the time.
Usually you're absolutely right. You will see the guy who supposedly lost the fight come back, and because I've seen him restart the fight too many times. They come back and win. Yeah, because the other guy has lost everything. His mentality is gone. Yeah,
the adrenaline dump is real. Yeah. It's like, yes, I've won. Like, you're getting your check. You're celebrating. You're up on the top of the cage, thanking the fans. And then you're like, yeah, get down. Okay, you're gonna keep going. Yeah. Wait, what?
Here, I want you to think about this. Go back to Anderson Silva. Did you ever see Anderson Silva do that?
Oh, yeah. Against Michael Bisping.
Mike Bisping.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden he was told, no, next round. And you could see the drop. It's tough.
But then there's also, like, when fighters also win and they take another fight the next week or 2 weeks later because they had a good performance.
Yeah.
Don't do that either. Give yourself time to get out of your own head. Focus on the next opponent. I've seen it. We just talked about a fighter doing that, I think, 2 weeks ago or something. They had fought 2 or 3 weeks ago. They had fought on one card, had a dominant performance, no injuries. Like, it was like a 2-minute fight. Came on and fought the next time, lost. It was they wanted to take the roll around fight. They wanted to go right over to the next fight, collect another check. Good on them for doing it, but it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. So, anyways, I just look, refs, they have a hard job. It becomes more real when you're in there, trying to get all the rules, and like you said, the making sure the commission has a standard of which they want fighter safety and all these things, and the promotion wants something similar but different. They want to make sure that there's action. They want to make sure you're not, you're helping the fight move along and making the crowd happy and making us happy. So there's a little bit of a difference there. These things are going to happen. It sucks for the fighters, but I would rather have this happen. But at least they got it right with the no contest. But I'd rather have this happen than the guy that fucking let the kid almost die in fucking San Antonio.
There you go.
Like that, like it goes both ways. Like,
and it's one of the things that I will tell you, and trust me, Chris has heard this too many times from the Nevada State Athletic Commission, is we want you to stop at 1 punch early rather than 1 punch late. We want you to stop at 1 second early rather than 1 second late. And that's what you're dealing with. And no matter what, people have no concept of how much pressure there is in being that person in there.
When you said put the arm where it's in a position where they're going to have to react, in that position though, where do you put it? And then as a fighter, I'm like, hey man, now I'm fighting the ref and the fighder. Don't touch me.
That's why it has to be fast.
Yeah.
And you're taking and I'm going to take if your arm is down, I'm going to push it back. I'm going to push it back and just kind of hold it and see if I get any pushback at all. because I do that, your arm's going to automatically start to come forward. Like, what are you doing? You're there.
Got it.
Gives me that information.
So you are just basically shaking the arm. Okay, got it. Noted.
But yeah, that's the whole
I
thing.
get
Is
it.
You are, but you're doing it with a control that is not this flopping thing. Because when you flop it, if the guy's relaxed, it's going to flop.
Yeah. I guess, I get what you're saying. Just trying to figure out, like, what if it happens if you put it in the wrong spot and it makes the choke tighter?
No. I think
thanks,
you know
John.
chokes enough to it. I think you know chokes enough to where it's, you're not going to help the choke.
All right, last fight I'm going to talk about is Tracy Cortez. I thought she looked good. She put some...
that's the last fight you're going to talk about. I'm not. We're talking about
you can
more
talk
than
about the other two.
Okay.
I'll talk about Charlie Campbell too. He had a great performance. He had a great performance.
Not only did he have a good performance,
jeez.
Did you hear him against DC?
Yeah, I loved it.
Poor Daniel Cormier has been eaten alive.
I loved it.
It was awesome.
It was good. I mean, I felt bad
Go
for him
back
a
to
little
Tracy.
bit. No,
Go
I
back
felt
to
bad
Tracy.
a little bit for Charlie Campbell because at that time when you fight and you're only the second fight in, there's not a lot of crowd there yet.
No, there's not. But
Like
that's all
the
right.
crowd, some of the crowd you could hear in the background. Yeah, but it was so dead. I felt so bad for him.
It was awesome.
That would have got a lot more heat if he was on the main card. But good performance by him, man. Great knockout,
Great performance by
TKO, whatever. But great shots. He was throwing. He's getting himself out of position a little bit too much. He's good.
We've
I don't know
talked
why
about
Bellator didn't keep him. We liked him.
Stupid.
Yeah, dumb. But he's a good fighter. He was tough. He was fun to watch. He's a gamer. I think his nickname is the Cannibal. I mean, he eats up some people, man. He looked good last night. Good for him. I was happy for him.
Tracy Cortez. Let's talk about that fight.
I mean, I could talk about that all night.
But
She fought her ass off.
she did. But going into this, we talked about, and we knew that Jasmine is a very good wrestler. We knew that Tracy's a good wrestler. So you're wondering, is it going to cancel each other out? It's going to end up on the feet. It really did for the most part. But the speed difference was the big difference in the fight. Tracy was a faster fighter. She got her shots off, and she was landing shots before Jasmine was able to get the counters to come back and to land and have an effect on Tracy. Jasmine did a great job throughout that fight, fought tough as hell, and she took some good shots.
Yeah.
Man, she took some big shots and kept just marching forward. I loved her in the third round when she grabs the braid to land the knee. Hey, and DC said, if you're not cheating, you ain't trying. It's like,
DC
yes,
would
sir.
know.
DC would know. Let's talk about a little towel push down, man.
I think it's great. I thought she looked good, man. She did. I love the fact that she called her out on pulling the hair. Like, man, what are you doing? Like, come on. Yeah. I mean, I know sometimes it'll happen. The glove or whatever will snag on it. I fought, what was his name? Cajun Johnson. What's his name? It's Cajun Johnson. I fought him long before up in Canada. I fought him up in there. And this guy had like a fro at the time. My fingers got stuck with the gloves and the tape and all that shit and he was yelling at me from the bottom as I was beating his face in. He was like, come on, man, fucking pull my hair. I'm like, bro, your fucking hair is up in the gloves. And we was like,
your hair is everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. I was getting in my mouth. I was getting in my gloves. Anyways, it's not easy. It's not as easy as you think. Same thing happened with when I fought Benson. Benson didn't have his hair tied back. And I was like, oh, I wish I would have told him to braid it. But it was like my mouth. I was on his back. It was in my mouth going down my throat. Ugh, it was so gross. So gross. And I love Benson, but man, it's just nasty.
That's one of the things when you do a Benson Henderson fight, it is absolute. You see his hair all over because it comes in because it's just coming out.
It's coming out.
Yep, it does.
Yeah. I mean, there was one moment, I think in round three or four, I think it was 3. And I come back to the corner. And I've got like pieces of his, like a chunk of hair in in my glove. Yep. It must have got attached to like the tape or something. And it yanked and it pulled his hair out. Yeah, it's not easy to fight someone with, and she had braids in, but still. But Tracy, she looked good after a year and a half off. I thought she looked good.
Gotta give her credit. She actually looked better.
And I think even though you said like she's a good wrestler and you thought maybe the speed, I thought it was the power that made the difference. She moved her head off line, and every time she landed, it was almost like the Alexa Grasso fight. She had that every time she landed, Jasmine had to take a step back. And it looked like Tracy had the more powerful shots. She had the cleaner boxing when you got inside that phone booth. Not a phone booth. When she got inside that phone booth, she had the cleaner boxing. And I love what she was doing. She did a good job. She needs to get the cardio. I think this was her first fight back after a year and a half. Get that fight pace back. You're going to have to get into that third round with a little bit better cardio. She was breathing pretty heavy in that third round.
She got tired.
Both of them were. Both of them.
Yeah, but Jasmine was pushing through it better than Tracy was. She was starting to take control in that fight.
Yeah, and but I mean, what'd you think of the decision? Did you think Tracy won?
I did.
You did? Yeah.
I thought it was close, but I gave it to Tracy. I thought she won.
Thought it was close too. I thought Tracy landed the harder shots.
Yep.
You know,
I agree with you.
I agree. But overall, between Tracy and Charlie, man, I thought that it was good back and forth battles. But I thought Charlie had a great performance with the knockout. Good for him, man. Proud of him.
Very good. And a beautiful job on the mic. I love what he did. He even had, because Cormier was answering him. That was the best. I felt bad for Jay because he says, what did you do? And so Cormier's going, well, I thought, it doesn't matter what you.
That was great. I thought it was great. And DC is a total nerd for the WWE.
Oh yeah, no,
he's a nerd.
He bought into it perfectly and stuff. It was great.
No, him and King Mo. There's a couple other guys. This guy named Podcast Dave. All nerds for the WWE.
Rampage.
Yeah, Rampage. Very true. Rampage. All right, guys. Hey, that's gonna wrap up our UFC talk. Let's go ahead and jump right into we spent an hour breaking that fight down.
Hey, did you see that Sam Alvey got a knockout in karate combat?
Did he?
Yes, he did.
Good
after pulling a Dan Cormier with the weigh-in.
Oh,
I was like, oh my God, look at him. He's cheating like a sumbitch.
Not all commissions are equal. All right, guys. Hey, before we work, we're going to move on to some news and talk about the Bellator card 301 being announced, and the fight card is stacked. But before we do that, let's go to onlyfans.com/weighing-in. onlyfans.com/weighing-in. Subscribe to us over there. It is free. And hey, any fighters, if you guys are out there listening to us and you guys are interested in getting on to OnlyFans, go ahead and reach out to us. Hit us up in my DMs on my social media at The Real Punk on Instagram, and also at The Real Punk on Twitter. So hit me up on both locations. Hit me up in the DMs if you guys are interested in trying to make some money.
Slide into his DMs.
Slide into my DMs. If you guys are trying to make some money on OnlyFans, hit me up. Let me get you guys connected with the right people to help you guys get on that platform and start bringing in a little bit extra revenue at onlyfans.com/weighing-in. Subscribe to us over there. It is free. All right, let's talk about Bellator 301 was announced. This will be in Chicago, one of my favorite arenas. Absolutely amazing. It is awesome. What a great arena. And I'm looking forward to this fight. This is probably one of the fights I'm looking forward to the most is this fight. Go ahead.
Boom. The champ, the undefeated Yaroslav Amosov, the guy that everyone in American Top Team will tell you there is no doubt that they believe he is the best welterweight fighter in the world, taking on Jason Jackson. And it's kind of one of those, Jason Jackson is with Killcliff FC, who used to be, Sanford, who used to be Hard Knocks, who used to be the Black Zillions. And so you have ATT versus the Black Zillions once again, almost like they had the Ultimate Fighter thing.
Well, you missed the 360, Hard Knocks 360.
I said Hard Knocks.
Oh, you said Hard Knocks. Okay.
I said Hard Knocks. But look at Jason Jackson. He's got the same build as Amosov. He's long, tall, good wrestling, good stand-up. These guys are going to match up well. This should be a great fight.
John, I said this before. I think if there's going to be a guy that gives Amosov the most problems, it's going to be Jason Jackson. It's the way that Jason Jackson's fight. He fights a little reckless, makes mistakes, but he fights aggressive and he lets it go. The kicks, the hands, he will wrestle you. His first love was wrestling.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't have the wrestling of a Logan Storley, but he's got better stand-up than Logan. Logan's come a long way in his stand-up. But Jason Jackson's longer. He utilizes the kicks better. He knows how to get into the clinch and use the knees and the elbows. I mean, this is going to be more of a dangerous fight. Not to take anything away from Logan Storley. In the first fight, Amosov wasn't prepared for how good Logan Storley was on the ground and how much better his stand-up had got a little bit and was getting hit a little bit on the feet. And he made those adjustments after he went away to the war or during the war in Ukraine and Russia. He comes back on fire. Beautiful performance over Logan Storley. Jason Jackson has just been knocking him down as they put him in front of him. He's exciting. He's fun to watch. He's got the speed he's got the power with the hands, the speed with the hands, great kicks, and he will take you down and control the top position, and he will sprawl and brawl. So this makes for a very, very fucking good fight. A very good fight. I'm excited for this fight. I said this a while ago. Out of all the guys in that welterweight division, I felt like Logan was probably the guy that would give Amosov the biggest fits, which he did after watching their first fight. But I think Jason Jackson's probably the number 2 guy. Can you pull up the Bellator rankings? I mean, I really believe that Jason just has the style to potentially give Amosov his first loss. Now, I'm not saying he's going to do it. I mean, until the guy gets beat, I can't go against him. But, yeah, you look at Logan's choice. Michael Page is probably leaving, going to the UFC, which is good for him. Happy for him because it's a good opportunity towards this stage of his career to go out there and try and test himself and see where he's at. Yeah, see what he wants to do. Everyone kept talking about. I'm surprised. Korshkov, I think, would be a great fight against Amosov as well. A little bit of the wrestling, got the stand-up. He's explosive. But the rest of those guys down there, I don't know. None of those guys, I think, will match up. None of those guys will give. I mean, Larkin, maybe it's up and down with Larkin. Someone. Yeah, it's up and down with Larkin. You know, he wins 1, loses 1, he wins 2. You know, he's good. He's very good. He's just coming off of
loss.
He just lost to
Korshkov.
Korshkov, that's right. So Korshkov, though, absolutely amazing. Anyways, all right, what was the other card? This card's stacked. So you've got who else on this card?
Oh, come on. Who else? You got Pettis against Patchy Mix for the bantamweight title. You got Sergio Pettis, who was out for so long with a knee injury after winning the title. And then he comes back and he beats Patricio Pitbull in a beautiful performance. Patchy Mix went on and entered the bantamweight World Grand Prix, walked away from that just looking fantastic. Went the distance with Horiguchi, but just dominated him. Then went and submitted Magomedov as the first person to ever do that, and then knocked out Rafian Stotts with a beautiful knee. Just looked fantastic throughout that entire Grand Prix. Well, he's the interim champion. You know, Dave, interim, but who's the champion? Pettis is the champion, and Patchy Mix is looking to get that undisputed title. This is a fantastic matchup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight a lot. It really comes down to who can implement their game plan. If Patchy Mix can get this fight to the ground, I mean, not that he can't do damage on the feet. He can. But, I mean, obviously, he's, I think, leaps and bounds better than Pettis on the ground. And Pettis, I think, is going to have slick movement, the way he lets his combinations go, all of those things. Where I look at this fight having a little is kind of the Rafian Stotts and kind of the Corey Sandhagen with Frankie Edgar. It's the height, man. The height of Patchy Mix, that knee coming up the middle. If Pettis drops his head at all, if he you're right there. You're right there. So if you like to lean in and just step with the lead foot and leave the back foot behind, you're dipping your head at the same time. So when he throws that jab or he throws a right hand, if he's got to reach for it at all, his head will automatically dip, which puts you right into that knee range. We saw that with Rafian Stotts when he got knocked out by Mix. This is a good fight. I'm excited for this fight.
It is. Then you also have AJ McKee against Sidney Outlaw. Interesting fight. Yeah. Sidney Outlaw coming off of a nice win. Patricky Pitbull going up against Alexander Shabley. That is in the lightweight Grand Prix. That's a hell of a matchup. Shabley is a sniper. Patricky's got huge power, big knockout artist. That's a great matchup too.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that as well. Shabley and Pitbull, that's going to be a great fight. Great fight. I mean, these two guys are going to slug it out.
Yep.
Shabley, I think, has got a little
Someone's
bit more.
Going to sleep.
Yeah, Shabley's got a little cleaner striking, clean in and out, sniper type fighter. And Patricky's gonna let the hands go and hit with some big shots. Rafian Stotts versus Danny Sabatello, part 2.
Part 2.
What do you think?
I love that rematch. I think it's great.
I think so. I think it is a great rematch.
Did you see Sabatello training with Sunshine?
Yeah.
He took him down.
Thought it was great.
I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
You got a room full of guys. Sunshine being just the unbelievable Muay Thai guy that can just do it all. Takes on anybody of any size. Danny Sabatello, he gets hit with a kick. Danny Sabatello drops down. Whoop. Double leg. Put him on his ass. Good job, Danny.
Man, this card's pretty stacked. I'm looking forward. You've got Timur Khizriev versus Justin Gonzalez. That should be a good fight. And then you've got Mike Hamill, who's always fun to watch, against Tim Wilde.
Great
who's always
fight.
fun to watch. What's the first 2 fights on there, Dave? And then Unaba versus Denise Kilholtz.
Yep.
Oof.
You
That might
actually
be
sent a thing out on that. That's a good one. That's 2 snipers.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Look,
That's
at
a tough fight
Sumiko
for
Inaba has
Inaba.
turned into, I don't know, man. You take a look at her fight against Vida Ortega, and I mean, she was so accurate, so good in the stand-up. Her footwork was beautiful. She just picked Vida apart, and Vida kept coming after her and stuff. Like, Vita's been in there with Denise and got a win. So this is an interesting matchup. I think it's going to end up obviously being a strikers, battle, but this is an interesting fight.
That's tough because Sumika, she is hittable, and Denise got some power.
And Denise has got some snap.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight. We'll see. I mean, this is a big step up in competition for Inaba. Big step up. What's Inaba? 6-0? Yeah, 6-0. And then Denise is 7-5. But
that entire card is just awesome.
Yeah, good. Pumped for them all.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about something else. We got Kayla Harrison versus Julia Budd.
About time Kayla's coming back.
I feel like she was promised a little something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, hey,
Something,
if you stick around,
Something.
we got some money for you, and we got some top level fighters coming your way. So we'd like to hang on to you. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna see exactly. This is a good fight for her. I think Julia Budd is not who she used to be. She's getting a little bit older in age. 41? She's got to pull the trigger more. That's all. She's good in the clinch. She's got to pull the trigger more, and don't be afraid to utilize your wrestling. You be on top. You do the work. I think she could take Kayla Harrison down. I'm not saying she could throw her or anything. I'm saying that she might be able to get her down. If she does get her down, and her being on top is beneficial. On the feet, I think she's got the advantage for sure, but
she's got to let her hands go. Just like
she's got to let her hands go. If you don't pull the trigger, you can't knock someone out. So that's been the MO on her for the last probably 5 or 6 fights, 4 or 5 fights. Yeah, she's got to pull the trigger. That's all. She's talented. Yep. We all know that she's talented. She just got to pull the trigger.
She's a physical specimen. Both of them are.
Yeah.
As far as athletes, just both of them are incredible. But Julia needs to just put it in her head, I just need to go after you.
Yep.
She goes after her, she can make this a great fight.
I think with Kayla, Julia's got to be careful. She's got to be careful in how she approaches. She's got to throw, land, and then throw again. She can't just rush in with shots. She has a tendency sometimes to walk forward with 1-2s. That's going to, if Kayla will just dip underneath, get to the body lock, look to take you down.
Yeah.
That's not where you want to be. Kayla Harrison she's good, man. She's good. So she's got to stay out of that position. I think this time away has probably rejuvenated her a little bit.
It's been good for her.
Yeah, taking this season off, I think I was like, okay, you know what? All right, I'm ready to get back to making money.
Well, the thing that's unusual when you look at it it says at featherweight, so that means Kayla is coming down to 145.
Good.
So that's exactly what I think needs to be done. There's so many more opportunities for good matchups at featherweight than we're ever going to see at lightweight. So
yeah, there's not a lot either at featherweight. So, but there's still better ones than at 55.
lot less at lightweight though.
Well, this gives me hope, John, that what they're going to do, they've got rid of the 55-pound division, I believe, for the lightweights, females, correct? And now it's 45.
Right now, yes, it's 45.
Okay, so it's 45. Kayla, her biggest gripe, from what I understand, was that she just didn't want to do the 45 and be in the tournament. She just was like, I'm not doing that.
She couldn't lose weight that many times like that.
Yeah, that many times. I don't want to do that to my body. I know it's good for my health. I'm not doing that. Yep. So now,
which is smart.
Now with the potential buy of Bellator and maybe some of the fighters coming over, now if it makes me feel like they're going to start leaning towards, doing these matches like this, where it's not in the tournament, and you're going to see more of a traditional style of a promotion and fight. I think it's beautiful, man. I think it's a great opportunity if the female fighters come over and you have her there and she's ready to make 45. She can make 45. She's fought at 45 and she's good. So like it makes sense. It does make sense. Good for her. Good for them. This is gonna be a good fight. I'm looking forward to it.
This is a PFLW.
Yeah.
Didn't they just come out with that?
PFLW.
Yeah, they came out with this whole thing, PFLW.
What's that?
For women, I guess.
Oh wow. All right, still a PFL.
Yes, it is.
All right, next, what else you got for us, Dave?
So apparently Derek Brunson was released from UFC. Ali came out and let us know about that. And Derek Brunson is now calling for a Jake Paul fight. Curious on your thoughts.
I mean, another wrestler turned boxer.
My thoughts?
Yeah, let's see what happens.
My
Go ahead.
thoughts is, Derek, if it's an MMA fight, go ahead. If it's a boxing fight, don't. He's going to beat you in boxing. Stop.
John, I think we're past all this. Like where these fighters that get released and they don't care. They want to just make the biggest payday they can make. And if it means fighting Jake Paul, that means fighting Jake Paul. That's it. I don't think Jake Paul's going to fight him. Derek Brunson never had. I mean, he has a big name in MMA. I think he has a good name, but he never was a world champ. Neither was Nate Diaz, but Nate Diaz's name is huge. Okay, so
big difference.
Big difference. Big difference. So I don't see Jake taking the fight either. So it doesn't. But I like to call out. Whatever. If you're there to make the money, make the money. And if you can get a fight with Jake Paul, get after it. Make the money. That's it. Do it.
The part that I don't understand is he was released with the UFC, but if you look at the headline on this thing, it says, "Oh, he wants a tune-up fight against Jake Paul. Otherwise, he'll wait for Adesanya versus Whitaker winner." What the hell's that?
I don't know.
Makes no sense.
I have no idea.
But then again, I look at it, it says on September 5th, 2021. So Dave's got something on there that's 3 years old.
Oh.
No, September 14th, 2023, right there.
No, excuse me. By Damon Martin. Take a look up above, right underneath the actual headline.
But I think
September 5th, 2021, 8 a.m.
I don't see the 8 a.m.
Oh, my God.
Oh, right there, right below Whitaker winner. I don't even have my glasses on, Dave, and I can see it.
Oh, underneath that. That's just Derek
That's when that came out.
Screenshot.
No, but that's what he posted, John. That's from his Twitter, from Derek Brunson's.
Yes, because
that's a
that's when
screenshot.
that whole thing came out against talking about the Adesanya versus Whitaker winner.
No, that's when he just took that screenshot.
Brunson
The
took
statement.
screenshot.
The statement
Oh,
by
yes,
Derek Brunson,
yes.
the first one,
Yeah,
came out in 2021. That's when he first put out, "Hey, I'll fight Jake Paul."
Thanks
And
for
then
clarifying.
now he's saying, now he's released, "Hey, Jake, I've
Got
already called
it.
you out before."
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
They got complicated real
cleared,
quick.
Glad you cleared that up, John. Yeah.
Boy, I'm not.
You're complicated. All right, last one I've got for you guys. Did you guys get a chance to catch Dana White on Piers Morgan at all? It was quite an
Yes.
interesting interview. There were some interesting things on there. John, the one thing I would love to get your take on is he talked about, he kind of clarified on, remember when he said no females in MMA like 10 years ago, whenever he gave some clarity to that, which I thought was interesting, where he said something like, you just got, like, at the time, you need to realize that we were having a hard enough time getting the sport recognized as it was. And so the idea of putting females in the sport was just something that we didn't want to take on, because it was already hard enough getting people to agree that men could compete in this, because at the time John McCain was calling it human cockfighting. I thought it was an interesting piece of information that 10 years ago might have added some good color to it. But what do you guys think?
I'm going to tell you right now, I did watch it. It cracks me up, Josh, because everyone says, "Oh, John takes shots at Dana." No, I don't. If I think Dana's right, I say I agree with Dana White. If I think Dana's wrong, I say I don't agree with him. It's just my opinion on what he does. And, look, at times he's just being a promoter. And I'm going to be honest about it. He's being a promoter. He's not being honest with what he's saying. I did watch this interview, and I want to tell you that I thought that Dana was great at it. I thought he was fantastic in it. I thought he was honest. I thought, some of the stuff he said was, tough to listen to, as far as it was heartfelt in ways. And He talked about his parents dying and that he really didn't have any feelings about it. And
I saw that.
And I understand why, and I thought he talked about the sport and the McCain thing a little bit. And he was, goddamn, and this is what has always gotten me to where I get mad at him. Because look, I don't hate Dana. I like Dana. There's things about Dana that I know that that I look and I go, why are you that way? But everyone's going to have their thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I was going to sit here and tell people, they would go, no. Yeah. See, but if but look, I want to say, I think as a father, I think he's great with his kids. His kids are the most important thing to him. Yes, he had the thing with his wife and it was wrong. I'm just going to say that, but they dealt with it the way that they, felt it was the best way to deal with it. And he's moved on from it. She's moved on from it. That's great. I thought that, many times what has gotten me in trouble with Dana is, Josh, I was there from the beginning. Okay. Before there was the sport. I know everything that happened. I know who created things and stuff. I was listening to Tito Ortiz the other day on a thing talking about how he created the gloves for the UFC in Awano, and I'm like, well, you want John Awano's number, and we'll see who really fucking did the work with John Awano. But whatever, okay. People are going to come up and they create their own history, and it was one of the things that bothered me about Dana was rewriting history, because when people didn't know, he would just insert his form of, well, we did this and we did that. And it was like, no, you didn't. This is who did that. And you can only go so many times where, you say, all right, you're just going to lie about it. He was honest in this thing. He was so honest. He talked about, well, John McCain was before that, I was really part of the sport. He's right. And I love the fact, he wants to sit there and say, he kind of did us a favor because, his big thing is he wanted to, just, get this regulated. Okay. Now, from Dana's point, I can understand why he says that, but that's not completely the story. Is, I can tell you the story with John McCain, but he was honest about everything that he said in this thing. And I loved him for it. I thought he was great. And I thought, he brought the guy on about his health and stuff like that. But this interview was the best interview I've ever seen Dana do, because it was absolutely, he wasn't trying to inflate anything. He wasn't trying to he was being as honest, and he was being, I thought Piers at times was getting a little bit into his life that, he did not want to share, but he was. And I thought he did a great job with it. And I thought it was fantastic as far as the way he came off.
I mean, I always saw was the part with his parents. There was a short clip of that running around, and someone sent it to me, and I can relate. It's not an easy thing. Like I said, most of us fighters or people that work in the fight industry, we haven't had the best relationship either with parents or family or just in life. And for you to go on national television, and say the things that he did, I mean, he's got some inner demons that he's trying to let out. Well,
and some people are going to think he's heartless for that. That, I didn't really feel anything. He's not. You got to understand. Not everyone has that mom, or dad that they look at and go, my mom's the most important person in the world. That doesn't happen for everyone. I wish it did.
Yeah, I
wish it did, but it doesn't.
Yep. I mean, that's why I think that this day and age, you'll see me on social media several times, just pushing being present as a father, being present as a parent is the most important thing. You don't need to drive and push your children. You just got to make sure you're there for them, whether it's to point them in the right direction. You don't need
to let them know you love them.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, man. And just being present. Nothing more important than standing there making sure that your kid knows that you're on the sideline watching them play, whatever sport it is, or just being available for them. That's it. The rest of it will all happen in its own way. do the best for them as you can. That's it. I understand where he's coming from. You know what I mean? It's not an easy thing to talk about, especially in front of millions of people on a Piers Morgan show. And it's going to be sent around to another 50 million people, probably by the next year. So, but in terms of what David brought up to you with the females MMA, I didn't even consider that. I didn't consider that though. It kind of wasn't the right time.
No, he was absolutely being honest. Like I said, everything that he talked about, he was honest. Mm-hmm. And it was, forever. Dana said, no, there will never be women in the UFC. No, there will. And that's because people, I mean, if you understood the battles and all the pettiness that went along with things and how things occurred, in his mind, there was not going to be women's MMA because he knew that, he was in charge of, the leader of, what the media would go to. Because anything that happened, and this is what you have to understand, anything that happened in the sport of MMA came out in the media. If something bad happened, would come out in the media, and the 3 letters attached to it was UFC. Even though it didn't happen in the UFC. But UFC fighter wasn't a UFC fighter, but they got attached with it. A fight happens where someone gets hurt, something bad happens, UFC. And so he had to deal with those. And so it was like, man, I'm not even going to do this with women. It was part of, hey, I got enough problems just with people accepting men fighting on the ground. And this goes all the way. Josh, back at UFC 21, was in Iowa. And after the show, I went to dinner with a man named Lorenzo Fertitta, Glenn Carano, who was Gina Carano's dad, Flip Homansky, who was the medical advisor in Nevada at the time. And there was another gentleman, I can't even think of his name, but he was just there. But, and one of the things that, Lorenzo Fertitta, all of those guys were with the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Lorenzo Fertitta was at the time, Glenn Carano was. Lorenzo wasn't looking to buy the UFC. We were trying to get Nevada to look at regulating us to get, regulation and be able to go to Nevada and fight in Vegas. And, one of the things that Lorenzo said at the time, during that dinner was, look, I have a real problem with a guy punching someone while he's on the ground. And so I had to try to explain to him. And I used John Wayne as my, look, you've watched, a ton of movies, and Hollywood, basically dictates what's a fair fight and what's dirty. I go, and so you've watched John. I said, when John Wayne gets into a fight in a Western, I said, John Wayne hits the guy, boom, hits him with the right hand. The guy goes down. John Wayne doesn't jump on top of him, mount him, and start hitting him with elbows. I go, he would be smart if he did. I said, John Wayne picks that guy, grabs him, picks him up, stands him up, and hits him and knocks him down again. And he goes, yeah. And I go, that's not real fighting. That's Hollywood. And this is how it started. And so that's the way, that was the perception of a guy that ends up buying the UFC. Okay. These were the things you had to get through. And Dana was being just completely honest with, hey, I didn't think we would have women, but we do, and they're fantastic. And I thought, best interview I've ever seen, and the most honest interview I've ever seen with Dana White. Fantastic job.
Good. I'm going to have to go back through. I'm going to have to go and listen to the whole thing. So go back and listen to it. But there's a lot, man. There's a lot of history in this sport that people didn't realize they had to jump through to get to where we were, the regulations, state to state. You got to think, what was it, 2016, 17, that New York was the last state to legalize it. What year was that?
New York was 2016, I want to say. 2015, like 2016, yeah.
Think about how far, since 93 to now, it took them that long to New York to jump on the bandwagon. The rest of the states had already all done it.
Well, but hold on. Okay, see, now let's go back. New York was one of the states that I was doing fights in for the UFC and was one of the first to legalize it. People don't know that.
And they went away from it?
Well, again, you have different personalities and different organizations, and
the unions.
The UFC had made a deal with the government, but the UFC was one promotion while Extreme Fighting Battlecade was another. And Extreme Fighting Battlecade says, we don't have to follow. We didn't make a deal with you. We're going here. And so as soon as they legalized it, then they made it illegal. So a lot happens.
Wow. Well, guys, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Sunday afternoon watching my Chiefs spank the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got to get a win. We are 0-1 after losing last week to Detroit. But hey, man, we didn't have Travis Kelce. We didn't have Chris Jones. Both of them now are back this game. Chris Jones signed a nice contract, make a big money, make a big difference. And having Travis Kelce makes a huge difference. So we're not dropping balls and having pick sixes and shit. So we'll see what happens. But
less time for the quarterbacks of Jacksonville.
Yeah. Yes. Hopefully. Man, I mean, we'll see. But hey, Chiefs getting on today. I can't wait to watch that game. So everybody else, go to WayneandMerch.com. Thank you guys so much. WayneandMerch.com. Pick up some of our merch available over there. It is getting to become sweater season. Even here in Texas, it was 78 degrees yesterday. It was beautiful.
Fantastic.
Beautiful. So pick up hoodies. We got some hoodies, some sweatshirts, and sweaters. And
not sweaters.
It's sweatshirts. Okay, there you go. Damn. Anyways. Whatever.
Phone books.
The
sweaters.
stuff that keeps phone books. Whatever it is keeps you warm. Also go to onlyfans.com/weighing-in, onlyfans.com/weighing-in. Subscribe to us over there. Thank you guys so much. And John, take us away, buddy.
Hey, I hope everyone enjoyed Noche UFC.
Dave, say it, Dave. Don't say it the way you normally say it. Nacho.
Nache. I can understand why he says Nache, but whatever. For everyone out there, thanks for tuning in. We will see you.